all, there's something magic that happens when you're in a group. And so depending on the structure of your group, your organization, your clubhouse, you may want to use it in multiple ways, right? There may be individual students who are just going to run with it on their own, but you may also want to facilitate or just do some things in groups. I know you all have different structures. So what you're looking at is the home page, the dashboard page, and this is what it'll look like for you all as admins, but also for your students. I'll point out when there's differences and when what you see as an admin is different from the students. And you all as admins can have multiple license. You don't even need licenses. So when you're doling out licenses, they're just for the students. And you as admins, I mean, you'll be added in, but it's not a license that costs anything. So there can be multiple admins on your group. You can add them yourself. Tony will do more of a sort of logistics tech demo when I'm done showing you the platform. So what you see here, the buttons on the top, these are the content areas, the learning, the lessons, the videos from industry experts, the exercises, and each one of them leads to a deliverable, something that you're making, the learner is making. And once they've made it, what they do is they upload it into the gallery. So these buttons below are the gallery. And in the gallery, the first thing they're asked to do is give feedback on 3 random submissions from folks around the country and around the world. And as soon as they do that, the whole gallery opens to them. And so the next step unlocks as well. So what you're seeing, again, I'm in an admin account. So none of these buttons are grayed out. But if I was a learner and I was just in orientation, all the rest of the buttons would be grayed out until I finished orientation, uploaded my work, and gave my feedback. And then what if would open for me. So the feedback is a really critical and sort of core part of the process. And I'll show you some fun things about that to make it fun for the users as well. So on this page, there's a link to the orientation, to the what if step. These are where you're going to get started. There's a link to our exhibitions, and I'll show you that afterwards. Each week we post a new tip, just a short video from one of our industry experts. So those are fun and they're different ones. And then we have what we call the Pro Library. And so this library is an unbelievable resource. These are videos. They range from being really short to an hour plus. And these are all unbelievable industry experts, storytellers from animation, from film. We had a children's book authors right here. So a really wide range. And you can search these videos. So you can search them by the step. So what if, character, visuals, but you could also search them by things like art and visual design, collaboration, creative thinking, a whole wide range, mentorship, portfolio development, all of this stuff. You can also look at them by the pros themselves, like, oh, right, I saw that one video by Bobby and I thought that was cool. I want to see more by him. So then you can click on that. So the Pro Library is a really, really kind of amazing resource. Any questions? Anything yet? Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to quickly jump into orientation. So orientation is something that all the students should go through, but I recommend that you all read through this as well, because this will give you a really good sense of the general approach of the program. So it starts with a little video that literally tells you what the program is and how it works, and what the objective. Here you see a teacher's guide. So this is one of the things, this will show up if you're an admin, not if you're a student. And one of the things that's important on this page is this getting started guide. And so if you click on that, you've got this document here, which will tell you everything you need to get started, how to add students, how to add other colleagues or co-administrators, how the student needs a login, and then they'll get they'll get an email that welcomes them. It's got if you have an IT department, things you need to deal with, how to navigate it. Like this is kind of your first step of, oh, okay, now I know how to use this. Now I can jump in there. We also have a help at experiential.us. We'll answer your questions within 24 hours, but usually sooner than that. So don't hesitate to reach out to either help or info. Those are the two emails. Um, so yeah, still an orientation, how this program works. What they're creating in Story Experiential is a story reel. And a story reel is really the industry prototype for the animation world, for the film world, for any kind of digital media video creation. And so it's a great skill to have to know how to create a story reel. It's a great portfolio piece. And so there's an example here from Up, but there's a video talking about what a story reel is. Here are some examples, some finished ones. We talk about telling stories visually. So one of the things people often think is that this is an art program. There is visual art in this program, and visual artists love it, but it's a storytelling program. And so, in order to create your imagery, it can be hand drawn, it can be digitally created, it can be AI, it can be photos. You can use Scratch now and embed Scratch projects directly, collage. Your students can work in teams. So there might be one student who's like totally into creating visual imagery, and one who's into making music, and one who's into, editing, and another one who loves to do funny voices or acting or writing. So they can come together and bring their talents together, but they shouldn't get hung up on, oh, I'm not an artist. I can't do this. We have listed here a bunch of free visual creation tools, digital creation tools. And we also have a resource page. I'll jump to the resource page for a second that has all kinds of resources, all kinds of different tools that are helpful to look through. Most of them are free or at least have a free trial. Some of them are not, but it's clear and it's listed there. Okay. Same thing here about, oh, we have a blog post we wrote a while ago. We should probably take a look at it. Last time I looked at it, Tony, it's still held up, but we wrote it quite a while ago about AI. But our general philosophy around AI, which is, it can be a great creative partner. And I'll show you some AI tools that we have embedded in the program, but that we also believe that it's good to give credit to the AI when the AI is helping you. But it's nothing really replaces your story and your humanity. Editing tools, same thing, a bunch of free ones that you can explore more on the resource page. We talk about feedback because that's such a critical part. Each one of these, there's something written, but there's a video. And the videos are all these like really cool industry experts. The live streams we do, and I showed you the pro library where all the live streams go, the exhibitions I'll talk about a little later, community. And then the very first orientation has the very first task. And that is to basically just introduce yourself. Hello, world. And once you've done this, you've really conquered all of the technical issues. Like once you know how to create your little video, say something in it, and upload it, you're done, right? Everything else is going to be easy from then on. Tony, do you have anything you want to add to any of that?
Nope. Go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to show you a couple of just examples from Hello World. So this is actually one of my favorite things. I love just jumping in and seeing these Hello Worlds.
Hi, I'm Walter and I'm from Italy.
There are a whole variety of skill sets you'll see. Oop, does this one have no sound? No sound, just hello. I'm a grandpa in Colorado. Oh, I love that. I want to learn how to make engaging things for my grandchildren. I haven't seen that.
Ah, I
That's
haven't seen that
awesome.
one either.
Yeah. I could spend a lot of time in here just looking at these because they make me happy, but it's also a good way to see that it doesn't have to be like fancy.
Hello, world. My name is Karina. I'm American. I like Attack on Titan. Boom.
All right. So now I'm going to jump
Oh,
into,
yeah,
yeah,
I just wanted to comment that we have two age groups. We have the 13 to 18 age group, and that's completely separate from the 18 and above. Elise's account is set up so that she sees everything, both youth and adult. But your students, if they're under 18, they'll only see the other youth entries. They won't even know adults are in the program at all. There's no communication between those two groups.
thank you, Tony. Good point. All right. I'm going to jump into one of the content areas. So you go from orientation to what if, and most of you all probably had a little experience with what if. What if is where you're coming up with ideas. And it's also a relatively easy entry point. I would say that with each content unit, it becomes slightly more complex and you're building on those ideas. And so in character, I'll go into a little bit more depth. So like I said, each one of these starts off with a short video. We keep them short because we know all our attention spans are shorter and shorter. And so in this one, they're talking about character. This is Charles Chu. He is a story artist at Pixar. He's talking about his own experience as a story artist. He's talking about character and why character is important and how to develop a character, and showing some of the work he's done. But basically, getting the watcher here, the learner, to the point where they're like, "This is what you're going to be doing," and in this unit you are creating a character profile. If any of you were in the post post conference session, Dennis and I did a little bit on character, but in most of the workshops we didn't have time to do that. So examples, really fun and useful to watch some of these examples.
Hi, I'm Boyo. I'm a kid who's drawn with yellow crayon, and I come from there. Everything is so new to me. The world, these feelings, even myself. It's also confusing, and all I want to do is know why it all exists.
Me too. Um, so, you can watch all of these. Here again are the teacher tips. And this time I'm going to jump in and show you what the Global Classroom Teacher Guide is. I think it's this one. No, is it this one? Yes. So this is traditional teacher facilitator guides. They're pretty in depth. There are rubrics. But more than that, you've got the objective, how long it'll take, why, what's happening in this lesson. But it also gives you some ideas for lesson flows, right? So students, what they should have done before. There's a worksheet here, a what if worksheet. I think it might be the same one that we used when we were at the conference. But then there's some ideas for things that you can do in the room together, right? Help them understand what ifs by talking about what ifs from films they've seen. A bunch of different ideas here. So worksheets, activities, etc. And yeah, we've got that for each step. So it's pretty, and the rubrics. I don't know how important that is for you all. It's super important in the classroom, but this is a great resource as well. This you can go to your group, all the students that are part of your group, and Tony will demo this afterwards. And then there are a series of videos and lessons, right? Okay, so this is sort of a kickoff one. This is what's going to be the main things that are going to be happening. But like I said before, you're always working towards a deliverable, right? The thing you're making. And I'm going to zip down. In this case, the thing you're making is that character profile. And here it's written up in detail. They're just literally creating a script for their character. My name is, on the outside I look like, on the inside I am, etc. And it's turned into a short video by recording whatever the script is over some images. Um, and yeah, you'll see some of them follow the script exactly, some of them shift the script a little bit. Anything is fine, but the point is these exercises that I'll kind of go over a little bit are helping develop your ideas so that deliverable is going to be rich, so that you're creating a character that's meaningful, that's interesting, that's accessible to people, that's, going to make you interested in the story that you're telling. So first exercise, you got to look at what's the character going to look like, but who are they on the inside? What are their internal features? And I'll show you just a short piece from this. But as I scroll through here, you can see there are a bunch of different folks. So these are all different Pixar story artists, and they're showing their work and they're talking about character. And, they all come from different perspectives, different kinds of artists, and just sharing a wide range of ideas. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to play this a little bit.
I was working on Up. I was the story supervisor. Now, I'm a little invested in Carl's journey because back then my father was not well. He also had a full head of white hair. So when he gets to the Tepui, Carl actually has to be alone in his house, essentially looking back at the life that he had led with Ellie. And he does this silently. At that point, when I was storyboarding that sequence, my father was already in the hospital and he's unable to speak. And when I actually talk to my father, he can only communicate to me through his eyes and with smiles and facial movements. That actually helped me storyboard those moments when Carl silently thinks about his life with Ellie.
I like to show that because it's a good demonstration of how our industry experts, they're not only giving techniques and specific skills for the creation, but they're talking about their lived experiences. They're talking about how they bring that into their stories. And that's, I think, a really important part of the storytelling piece. Storytelling is not just for the career paths that are and the skill set that can help you with a career. Storytelling is also just the way we make sense of the world and each other and develop empathy for each other. And when we have control of our own stories and how we want to tell stories, it gives us a kind of strength in the world to communicate who we are. So that's really the reason we started with storytelling as our first experiential. And obviously, a little bit of our background from Pixar played in as well. So the second exercise is wants versus needs. This is a really critical one for making a story and a character interesting. If you think about Woody from Toy Story, he wanted to be the top toy, the boss, Andy's favorite, but he needed to learn how to be a friend. And so along his journey, a bunch of obstacles are thrown in front of him that help him come to that realization, right? And so that's what these videos and these exercises are about. And that creates your character arc. And that takes us to right now, we've been playing around with some different experiments with including AI as a creative partner, because it's really important to us that AI is being seen as a tool that in context can support your creativity, can support your ideas, not answer the questions for you, but really be a partner. And so this one right here is, I'm here to help you get ready to create your character profile. Do you have an arc idea yet? Well, the idea of an arc is complicated, and maybe they didn't even watch the video. So I like to ask the AI, what is an arc? I am confused. And so let's see what they have to say. good question. Character arc is how your character changes from beginning to end. So all of a sudden that word arc isn't so complicated. It's like, oh, it's just how they're going to change. So it gives an explanation, it gives an example, and then really the important part, it starts now to ask questions. What obstacle does your character face? What's stopping them from getting what they want? And so this dialogue will continue. This is a really well-trained AI on our approach, on our values, on everything in the program. So it's fun. It's fun to play with. It's a nice spot for it right before you're getting to your deliverable. We have a lot of videos about feedback. We model feedback. Feedback's a really important part of the program, as you're about to see. So once they finish their character profile, they upload it into the gallery. I'm in an admin account, so right now what's going to happen is the whole gallery is going to open. But for a participant, for a student, what's going to happen is they are just going to get 3 of these, right? So, a random 3. And we have an algorithm in the program that makes sure that the submissions with the least feedback are the ones that are getting served up so that everybody's getting at least 3 pieces of feedback. So if I jump into one of these, I'm going to jump into one I haven't seen. Let's see. I don't think I've seen this one. I can watch it right here. I will then give feedback. You can see that there's a bunch of feedback here from different participants and responses. So in yellow are the responses from the creator. You can say if you thought this was helpful or not. You can reply. It's only first names. There's no communication outside of what happens on this page, and everything is moderated. So all submissions are moderated, all feedback is moderated. Nothing goes up until it's safe. You can look at a project's history. So I can see, oh, where did this start and where did it end up? I can see all the different stages. I can choose to follow it if I want. And that means every time there's a new submission, I'll get notified. So now the feedback part. Feedback's hard. It's hard for us as adults to know how to give feedback. And so we think of the process of getting and giving and getting feedback as one that they're going to be learning along this journey. And so we do a number of things to support that. One of them is we have prompts. So each step has a different set of prompts. And so let's say I just don't know how to get started. And so I want to start with what I loved most. What I loved most was how strong your character seemed to be. And so then we've got this feedback assistant, right? And the feedback assistant is going to help you go deeper with your feedback. And right now, I would say it's important to encourage students to use that. We are planning some kind of to have some incentives and maybe have a mascot, like remind you to use it. But right now, it's not being necessarily noticed. So I would suggest demoing it and helping them see that that's a good thing to do. So the feedback assistant is going to come back with questions. How does the character's strength impact the story or other characters? Be specific about what made the character strong. And so then I can go back in here and I can write more and I can go back to the feedback assistant as many times as I want until I feel good, and then I add the comment. And so once I've done that for my 3, then the whole gallery will open to me and the next step will open to me. So the visuals will open. But I can look through all kinds of work, right? I can watch them, I can give feedback on them, or I can just, scroll through and see how other people are problem solving this same section. I'm going to stop for a second because I've been talking for a really long time. I have one more thing I think I'm going to show you before I hand it over to Tony, but are there any questions? Looks like Marissa, did you have a question? Yeah, you're muted.
Sorry, can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, my computer is being funny. I really appreciate this presentation, especially just like walking through how to use the tools. One thing I was wondering is for admin accounts, how, like, is there a cap or a limit to how many students then would, like, within your class or within your club can then access and use the experiential storytelling tool?
I don't think so, right, Tony?
Oh, well, I can talk about that when I demo the admin tools.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I was just thinking
Hang on
about
on
like
that question.
how
Yeah,
students set up accounts and like what
yeah,
kind of is needed to get them set up and like, yeah.
yeah.
We'll show you all of that. And just so you know, we have someone, Lexi, who's our customer support and customer success person. And you can write to Lexi, you can write to the help at or info at, and
Mhm.
she will, she's first, what's the word first?
Line of support.
That's it. First line of support. If she doesn't have the answer, she'll come to one of us and she can help you with all that stuff, but we'll also show it to you.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything before we keep going?
Hey, just to clarify, Lexi, is that at the help
Mhm.
Yep.
email address? Okay,
Yep.
great. And that's in the chat for everybody, and I'll resend that out when we send the video out, just so people have the info.
All right. I'm going to jump to.
Oh, I was just going to say before you leave that view, or
Oh, okay. Let me go
yeah,
back.
students sometimes get confused. They'll go through a step, they'll upload their deliverable, and then they wonder why the next step doesn't open for them. It's usually because they didn't go to the gallery and provide feedback to those 3 other submissions. So, to get the next step to open, you have to both upload your own work and give feedback to others, and then you can move on to the next step.
Yep. Yep. And the feedback part, we make it a gate because it's such an important skill and it's so critical to really helping you problem solve creatively.
I should also say that if you look at this content and you say, well, I want to do these steps, but I don't want to do those steps. I want to skip over some stuff. Just let us know, and there's a setting that we can put in so that students can access all the steps in kind of random order. So if that's something you'd like to do, just let us know.
All right, last thing I'm going to show before I hand it over to Tony is we host 2 public exhibitions every year, one in December and one in May, and we do peer recognition awards. We do a really fun celebration where we show work and we talk and we have our student advisors and do fun stuff there, and we give awards for feedback, excellent feedback as well. And then your work goes into this gallery, and this link can be shared with anyone. Anyone has access to it because everything else you've seen so far is only within the platform. One of the things I love about this gallery is you can also filter it by your organization. You could filter it by all the Clubhouse organizations, but you could also filter it by your own. And then you have a link, a distinct link that you can send out to the students, to families, for a film festival you want to do, whatever it is, you've got this gallery, but only has your students' work. So I think that's one of the coolest things. I'm going to stop my share, take any other questions while Tony gets ready to do his. Anything? All clear? Yeah, Marissa.
Sorry, I'm the
No,
question
thank
person.
you. I love questions.
For the galleries, I think it's great that you can filter it by organization. That's so wonderful because then we can make sure, like, we can showcase the things that students are doing for our organization. Something I was wondering as I was looking at your presentation is, I know that there are some platforms that will filter for certain types of language or certain types of things. Does this platform also do that? And are there any situations where student work would get removed? Is it the job of the admin for that gallery, for that organization to essentially like set up the conditions for student submissions? Or is that something that is done on the back end through the experiential team?
Yeah, great question. Everything is moderated. So we have guidelines that we share. You as an organization can go deeper with the guidelines that you want for your students, but everything's moderated. And so if there's anything that goes up that violates any of the guidelines, right, because we want to have a really safe community and culture, then it doesn't even go up. If something slips through and goes up, and an admin sees it. We actually just recently, just yesterday or day before, had an admin, a teacher who we've been working with for a long time in Hawaii, reach out to us and say, I just noticed that one of my students' submissions, his Act 2 or Act 3 submission, was more violent than I feel comfortable with. I think it didn't violate necessarily our guideline, but she was concerned that it would be triggering. And so we took it off. She's talking to the student. The student will modify it or not, however, whatever they decide, and then it can go up again.
That's really helpful. Thank you. We obviously, like at our institution, we have a whole set of conduct guidelines and stuff like that. And so in my mind, I was like, well, I wonder how similar these all are. And like, do we have the flexibility to moderate?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, our platform policy is PG-13 or G rated is kind of how we think about it. So,
All right, Tony.
This is just a little bit off this topic, but I've heard some examples of people running this program in a group setting as opposed to individuals.
Yeah.
Tony, maybe you want to talk about that in your section, or if you want to bring it up now, of course, that'd be fine too. Just it's a little different approach than like, the individual stories. So I'd love to share that with folks too.
Yeah, I mean, I kicked off talking a little bit about that, how you can run it in a wide variety of ways. And I think when you have the opportunity to run it in a group and to facilitate it, it is going to be richer, right? I mean, but that's not always possible. So the teacher guides that we have give a lot of suggestions for how to do that. But you also are all, master educators. And so you can create you can shift the program in whatever way you need. Everything we're giving you is a guide and a set of resources, but feel free to be flexible with it and to really encourage young people to show their work, to practice feedback, to watch videos and talk about them together. Again, the teacher guides go deeper into how you might want to do that in a group.
Thank you.
It's also really valuable when possible for students to work in teams. And you can set up teams. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then when there's only one submission, so suppose there's a team of 3 people. At each step, just one of the team uploads the team's work, and then everybody gets credit for it. Everybody has to do their own feedback, but there's one submission per team per step.
Tony, would you talk about, because I didn't talk about this, the kind of part 1 and part 2 aspect as well?
Yeah, you have to remind me.
Or I can, you want to, well, why don't you?
Yeah, let me start at the very beginning. So what Elise just went through is kind of the learner experience. And what I'd like to do now is kind of go through the experience that you all have as admins. So let me share my screen. And I'm going to start at the very beginning. When you put in an order for licenses, as soon as that order comes in, you should receive a welcome message like this. So you might have to look if you don't receive this, look in your junk mail, because sometimes these get stuck. But it says, welcome to the program, click here to log in. So that takes you to the login page. And this is where you need to use the same email address that you used when you put the order in. And so this is a first login for this particular account. So you're going to be asked to activate your account, and you do that by entering a password. And then you have to confirm that password. Make sure you can type the same thing twice. Then you're asked to select an age group that you belong to. So not the age group of those that you'll be serving. And so you'll all want to click adult here. And then you'll probably want to peruse the privacy policy, the user agreement, and the code of conduct. These are all linked here. And once you've done that, you can say, I've accepted those. activating my account. Okay, now my account's activated. And since you're an admin, it's going to ask you for a little bit of detail about the group you'll be administering. This isn't a Title I school, and my postal code is 4901. And I'll submit that. You're only asked for that one time. The next step is it'll take you to this rostering tool. And so this is where you can add the first name, last name, and emails of the students that'll actually be going through the program. Now, there are 3 licenses here because when I put my order in, I just asked for 3 slots. And so, Marissa, I think this comes back to a question you asked earlier. Yeah, you kind of have to tell us ahead of time by putting the order in how many slots you want. And if you need more slots, you have to put in a second order. You can either fill this in yourselves, or you can send this first name, last name, email to Lexi, and she'll do the data entry for you, whichever is easiest for you. Okay. Once that's done, then you can go to your dashboard, and now you can start navigating the platform the way that Elise showed you. So you can go to any step, you can look at the content, you can look at the teacher guides, and so on. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out of that account and log into my regular account so that I can show you how you can track your students' progress. So this is a live group in the program. For demo purposes, I've anonymized the name, but so this is what a more extensive classroom would look like. There are 25 slots in this particular classroom. You can tell whether the student has logged in for the first time or not. If active means they've logged in and activated their account the same way that you did. And when you add students, they will get an email message with a link to log in as well. If you're interested in the student progress, which students have done which bits of work, there's this student progress button here. So that'll take you to a spreadsheet that has 1 row per student and 1 column per step. So this particular student, Asher, looks like they've submitted all the way up through Act 1. They've given some feedback for Act 1. Looks like they've only done 1 of 3 or 4 so far. So they're making pretty good progress. Let's see if we can find. So maybe Braden is falling behind a little bit and needs to be poked. You can simplify this a little bit by only viewing submissions, for instance. And so this is a little bit more of a quick snapshot. Does that all make sense? And if you want, you can. I don't know that this is something that you all do, but you can also add narrative assessments for your students, and they'll see those narrative assessments on the step or the submission that you're adding. If you're interested, we also have this assessment assistant. This is an AI that will look at the work that the student has submitted so far and give you a draft narrative. So it's, yeah, it won't do that in the demo mode right now. So does that all make sense? Okay. What else? See, you asked me to talk about part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Let me go into story. So for the whole program, all 8 steps and submitting to the exhibition, we estimate it's about 40 hours of work, which is, pretty substantial. If your students, have that amount of time and they're interested, that's a fantastic experience. If you need a more abbreviated experience, getting to the outline gives you a really satisfying end goal. And that's about 15 hours or so of work. You can go through faster if you want, but to do it and really absorb it and give your feedback and accept your feedback and refine it, it's about 15 hours. we encourage people to submit their work in progress to the exhibition. So even if you only get to the character step, you can still submit to the exhibition if you want for public display, and that also makes you eligible for the peer feedback or the peer awards. So we try to be as flexible as possible.
And can you talk about what happens if they submit something, let's say to What If, and then they want to resubmit, or they want to change it, or they want to submit something different?
Yeah, if an individual working alone or somebody working in a team uploads to a particular step and then wants to go back and refine it because they got some feedback that they really took to heart, they can always upload a new version. The comments they got on the old version stay there, but they can upload as many new versions as they like.
Questions? Thank you, Tony. That was great. All makes sense.
I have a few about what's the difference between story experiential and the entrepreneur one?
Oh, we didn't show entrepreneur.
Great
I totally
question.
forgot about that. Tony, do you want to do that one, or do you want me to? Either way.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's see.
So it's the exact same platform. It's different content. So it works the same way. So everything you just learned about how it works. But here, Tony will kind of walk you through the content.
Yeah, so this will all look very, very similar. The structure is all the same as Elise said. It's just the steps are a little different. The final project, instead of a story reel, in this case, it's a pitch deck. So it's a pitch deck that solves a problem in your community, or it's a pitch deck for a new business. And just like in story, we break down that final project into a set of deliverables. So first you brainstorm what kinds of problems you might want to solve. You upload 3 of those to the gallery, get feedback from the community, pick one, brainstorm possible solutions, upload your possible solutions, get feedback from the community, pick one, prototype that using simple materials or just sketches, cardboard, pipe cleaners and paper clips, whatever you need to give a sense of what your solution is. The next step is, okay, now go back and really understand who's going to benefit from this. Who's the audience you're targeting? Upload that to the gallery, get feedback, and so on until you get to the final pitch. And it's the same process as story. It's just the content's different. Does that help?
Yeah. What is the video game stuff that you guys have?
Oh yeah, that's in progress. We're excited about that. That is a. Do I have that?
I know that you said you were
prototyped here? Let's see.
And
This isn't done yet, but we have a design for it, which is the final project is a demoable, kind of minimal playable version of a video game. We will probably be Scratch based, although we won't require Scratch. We'll just make it easier for Scratch projects. And similarly, if the final project is a video game, we break it down into a series of steps that build on one another to kind of scaffold the process of that creating that big ambitious thing. We're also starting to work with some external teachers. We have an external teacher that we're working on for a genetic engineering course. So we have plans from, dozens of different courses, but this same general strategy of, big, exciting deliverable, break it down into steps. Each step you upload to gallery and get feedback.
Tony, there's a question then here from Marissa about whether Story Experiential works on Samsung tablets.
I think it works. All you need is a browser. So it should work. The other thing you need is some way to do simple video editing. So as long as you can, if somebody has a phone, that's often what people do, but it should work on any browser. If it doesn't, let us know. And as you go through the program, if you have suggestions for improvements, please let us know. We're constantly refining. So,
Yeah, so I think at this stage, probably Misha has communicated with you all about licenses and how to activate your licenses. And um, we're excited and standing by to support you in whatever way, to the end of the year and the beginning of the year, whenever you're getting started.
Yeah. And we have got a whole lot of licenses left over. There was there were a whole lot that were claimed and not activated. Um, but you should be able to cover a whole lot of people in your clubhouse. Mr. Al, you got a question? You're
Yeah, quick one. Uh, so, so let's say we want to start this process. What would be the protocol to follow? Will you email us something? Do we need to email you first? How do we go in regard to getting this account acclaimed?
yeah.
So that's a question for you, Misha, right? To start with, or is it for us?
Well, what I can do is there's a couple different ways. There on Clubhouse Connect, there was a post about it with the link to like the drop page. There's also been a few emails, like network news emails that went out that have the drop page link. And then I gotta just find it real quick, but before we stop this joint right here, I can put it in the chat. And this is just a special landing page for the Clubhouse XP collaboration. And all you would have to do is go on that website, and then the process is identical to what Tony and Elise have described here this morning or this afternoon. Let me find that link real quick.
is everybody serving under 18 or under? No,
Some are over
some are
18.
over 18. Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, it's mixed, but I think at least for us in Fairfax Community Center, there's going to be probably more younger kids, but we do younger kids and adults as well as seniors. So we
Oh,
could, you could start a story experiential with a bunch of seniors.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's got a
oh.
lot of potential. I just got to get my hands on it and start playing with it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to go through, especially if you're working in a small team as an adult. It's really surprising the stories people come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, and once you get in there yourself, I think you'll see it's all pretty self-explanatory. It's not so complicated. It feels like it's a lot, but once you're in there, it's pretty intuitive. And any questions you have, just don't hesitate to reach out to us.
I'm sorry. I've been.
So yeah, as long as Misha, whatever communication you all need to do on your side to get those licenses claimed, and then we will help you all get them registered and answer any questions you have. Looks like Mr. L maybe has another question.
Yeah, actually, we're running something called Shark Tank in the county, and when you talk about the entrepreneurial, because these kids may have to have a speech or something to present for that activity or that project. I think that may be interesting to see what the capabilities of that particular area is for this type of programs that we're supposed to help to develop.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a great match.
Yeah, I would love to see what we can do on that.
Yeah, and so I think Misha, your emails to folks have been for both story and entrepreneur, and the licenses you just need to let us know which program you want to be in, but it doesn't doesn't matter.
So the
Or
link,
both, right? Or both.
yep, or both. And the link to the collaborative drop page is in the chat. And then after, I think early next week, we'll have an email sent out that has this link and the recording for the rest of the network. But you can just grab this link here if you want to get started today or take a look at it.
Cool. I need to drop because I've got another call. Misha, I know you recorded this. If you wouldn't mind sending us the recording too, that would be great.
Can do.
And yeah, we're super excited to support all of you and your learners and see the cool stuff that's going to come.
Yes, indeed. Thank you
Can
so much.
we download the chat, or can we have a copy? Is this it's an option that I can save it?
Are you talking about the video of this?
The text chat?
I
The
think
text chat.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
No problem.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
See you
All
guys.
right. Bye, everyone. Have a great
Thanks for
day.
coming, Emily.
Thank
you, everyone. Have a good one.
Seeing you guys. Take it easy.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
You too, you too.
Bye, Misha. Later, man. Thanks, man.
Talk to you soon.